What if the biggest mistakes you're making with your student loans aren't about how much you borrowed, but what you believe about them? Because here's the truth. There are myths floating around that sound smart, even responsible, and yet they're quietly setting borrowers up for years of unnecessary payments, stress, and financial setbacks. And if you're like most people, you probably still believe at least one of them. Let's break down the 4 biggest student loan myths that could be costing you and what you need to know instead. Myth number 1. Student loans are good debt. They'll pay for themselves. This idea is one of the most dangerous because it gives borrowers a false sense of security. The phrase good debt implies that you don't need to worry much about how much you borrow because it's an investment. And while education can be a powerful investment, not all degrees lead to high-paying careers. For example, borrowing $100,000 to get a degree in a field where the average salary is $40,000 per year can put you in a financial hole for decades. And when you factor in interest, you may end up paying $120,000 or more over time. Instead of blindly accepting this good debt label, evaluate the ROI, return on investment, of your degree. Research the average starting salary in your field, understand how long it will realistically take to pay your loans off, and ask yourself, is this debt worth it? Because student loans aren't good or bad by default. They're a tool. And like any tool, their value depends on how you use them. Myth number 2, as long as I'm in deferment or forbearance, I'm safe. Deferment and forbearance are often misunderstood as free pauses on your loans. And yes, they can be helpful during financial hardship, unemployment, or returning to school. But there's a big catch. During most types of deferment and all types of forbearance, interest keeps building on your loans. Let's say you have $30,000 in loans and you go into forbearance for 12 months. If your interest rate is 6%, you've just added around $1,800 in interest to your balance. And if that interest capitalizes, it gets added to the principal, which means you'll be paying interest on the interest. That's how borrowers end up with balances higher than they originally took out. Use deferment and forbearance strategically and only when truly necessary. And if you can, make interest-only payments during those periods to stop the snowball. Myth number 3, consolidating my loans will lower my interest rate. A lot of people mix up consolidation with refinancing, but they're not the same thing. Federal loan consolidation is a process that combines multiple federal loans into a single loan. It's mainly used to simplify your payments or to become eligible for programs like public service loan forgiveness or income-driven repayment plans. But it doesn't actually reduce your interest rate. It just takes the weighted average of your existing rates and rounds it up to the nearest 1/8%. So if you're hoping to save on interest, consolidation probably won't help. In fact, in some cases, it can cost you more in the long run, especially if you restart the clock on forgiveness programs or lose borrower benefits from your original loans. If you truly want to lower your rate, you'd need to refinance through a private lender, but that comes with risks. Once you refinance, your loans are no longer federal, which means you lose access to IDR plans, deferment options, and loan forgiveness. So consolidate for simplicity and program access. Refinance only if you're confident you don't need federal protections. Myth number 4, I'll just stick to the standard 10-year plan. It's the fastest way out. At first glance, this makes sense. The standard plan has higher monthly payments, so logically it should get you out of debt faster. And for some people it does, but it's not always the smartest or most cost-effective option. Let's say you work in public service and qualify for PSLF. If you stay on the standard plan and make 120 full payments, you might pay off your loan before the forgiveness ever kicks in, which defeats the purpose of the program. In that case, switching to an income-driven plan could lower your payments and lead to more of your loan being forgiven. On the flip side, if your income increases and you have room in your budget, the standard plan could end up being more efficient than dragging payments out over 25 years on an IDR plan and paying thousands in extra interest. The key is this: the best plan isn't necessarily the fastest. It's the one that matches your income, your career path, and your long-term financial goals. What works for one borrower might not work for another. And the worst thing you can do is set it and forget it. Revisit your repayment plan every year. Adjust when life changes. Strategy beats speed. So, student loans aren't just about repayment, they're about long-term financial planning. And the most expensive thing you can do is believe the wrong information. So if this video helped clear up a myth you've been holding on to, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let me know which myth you used to believe, or share one I didn't cover. Let's keep learning, keep questioning, and keep building a smarter financial future. You're not stuck. You're just one mindset shift away from a better plan.